What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Malika and this channel is all about traveling more and expat life because who doesn't want the chance to live in a new country? I have moved abroad twice. First to Italy and now I live in Beirut, Lebanon, and I have learned so much from my expat journey and I love sharing it with you. So please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and check out some of my other videos to learn more about moving tips, getting visas, budgeting for your move abroad, and everything else. But for now, let's get into the details on the first thing you need to consider if you want to move abroad, which is where you're going to actually go and start your new life. Moving abroad might seem like a fantasy, but millions of Americans are actually doing it. And more people made the leap to move abroad once the pandemic increased opportunities for remote work. But how do you actually decide where you want to move to? I listed some of the best countries for expats based on cost of living, safety, ease of getting a visa, quality of life, and friendliness. So keep watching for the 7 best countries for expats in 2023. This trend-setting country in Western Europe has attracted hundreds of thousands of young expats, and it's really easy to see why. Portugal is a beautiful nation that is largely English-speaking, and it has one of the lowest cost of living in Europe and one of the most flexible digital nomad visas and paths to long-term residency. Portugal has several visa options that make residency easier to achieve. They offer a temporary stay visa, which is best for digital nomads for working remotely from Portugal. That visa offers those with proof of a remote job the opportunity to live in Portugal as long as you maintain an income of at least 2,800 euros per month. The visa is valid for 1 year and can be extended up to 4 times, so you can stay there for a maximum of 5 years. And as a tax incentive, you will only be charged a 15% tax rate instead of the standard Portuguese 25%. They also have a D7 passive income visa, which was initially introduced for retirees, but digital nomads and remote workers can also qualify. And there is a D2 entrepreneur visa, which is mostly for business owners. Both allow you to stay in Portugal for 120 days, but require you to convert into a residence permit, which is then valid for 2 years. The visa and residency permits also give you the benefit of full access to the Schengen area as though you were a European Union citizen, and you can bring your spouse and any dependent children with you. Both require you to show proof of the minimum salary of 8,460 euros per year. But if you're bringing a spouse, you must show another 50% on top of that, so 4,230 per year, and another 30% on top of that for dependent children, so an extra 2,500 per year. And for the entrepreneur visa, you can provide evidence of your own resources or proof of a bank loan from a Portuguese bank. While there is no minimum income requirement for that visa, experts recommend having at least 5,000 euros, and you also need to have a solid business plan that shows why you want to do business in Portugal and what benefit that has on the local community and the local economy. Number 2, Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a beautiful island country with affordable healthcare, a stable democracy, and easy flights to the USA. The capital city, San Jose, has a buzzworthy food, culture, and art scene, and there are plenty of low-key, laid-back beach towns that are perfect for expats, especially those interested in ecotourism and wellness. Costa Rica also has a great program for digital nomads and remote workers. It lets you extend your typical 90-day tourist visa to a full year with the option to renew for a second year. Plus, it exempts you from income taxes and allows you to open a local bank account, and also will validate your country's driver's license so you can easily purchase or rent a vehicle. There is a $3,000 a month income requirement to be prepared for that, and the application process is a little longer, but not too out of the ordinary. Number 3, Ghana. In 2019, Ghana celebrated the Year of the Return, marking 400 years since the first enslaved Africans were brought to America. That campaign kicked off a multi-year program to welcome Americans back to Ghana, touting their stable democracy, growing economy, and amazing cultural scene. And ever since then, Ghana's expat community has grown exponentially. People love the beaches, the culture, and access to travel all over Africa. They even rolled out a program to fast-track citizenship for African Americans planning to leave the U.S., and a program that entices prospective residents to keep their talents in the country for at least 10 years. There are no digital nomad visas for Ghana, but you can apply for a residence permit, which is valid for up to 4 years, and you can also go for a work permit. But don't fall victim to location bias here. Living in Ghana can be incredibly expensive, especially if you want to live well in a city like Accra and you want that kind of pop-in lifestyle, or you're moving with a family that you need to support. You're going to be looking at homes that are considered luxury properties if you want more basic things like reliable power or generators, or being in a gated community that's really important for safety. And some of these landlords ask you to pay for your rent for up to 6 months to a year in one lump sum. Also note that internet service can be unreliable, so if you're a remote worker, that can be a really hard challenge. Number 4, Cyprus. Cyprus is a gorgeous and frankly underrated Mediterranean island. I went for the first time this summer since it's only 20 minutes away from Lebanon, and it was incredible. European tourists have been taking vacations to Cyprus forever, and the rest of the world really needs to catch up. Not only is it super tourist friendly, but it's a great city for expats. There's cheap rent, easy taxes, and a really healthy Mediterranean diet, plus ease of travel all over Europe and the Middle East. If you want to move to Cyprus, you need to prove you're working remotely for a company registered outside of Cyprus or self-employed with a monthly income of at least $3,500. And you can apply for your visa while you're already residing in Cyprus. So yes, you can pack your bags and move there with a tourist visa, and then you'll have 90 days to apply for the in-person visa. And that processing time can take up to 8 weeks. So if it's valid, the visa is valid for 1 year, but if it's rejected, at least you got to live there for 3 or 4 months and just have fun. Number 5, Mexico. So moving to Mexico is an obvious choice, especially for Americans that want to live abroad. Mexico is globally ranked as one of the top destinations for expats. From the ease of settling in, the great cost of living, the ability to make friends, and easy access to return home if you need to. However, like anywhere, Mexico does have some drawbacks. There are some safety issues, and according to recent news and travel advisories, those issues are getting worse. The infrastructure can also be problematic, especially the water treatment and the sanitation. But overall, Mexico remains a leading choice for hopeful expats looking for an easier transition to life in a new country. It's also pretty easy to relocate to Mexico as an American, since you can legally stay for 6 months on a visitor visa, which you get automatically when you arrive. Technically, this does not allow you to work in the country, even though a lot of people overlook that and then work or do business anyway. If you want to apply for a temporary visa, all you need to show is 300 times the minimum daily wage in Mexico, which is about $2,500, and that needs to be documented on at least 6 months of bank statements. You can also apply for residency under the economic solvency requirement if you can prove you have enough savings or assets to support yourself, or you own Mexican real estate or significant investments in local companies or the stock market. Number 6, Germany. Germany is a great city for expats, especially people relocated with family. Germany is known as the working capital of Europe and has the 4th largest economy in the world. So plenty of opportunities for international business depending on your field. Life in Germany promises universal healthcare, free education, plenty of paid time off, excellent childcare, and a strong economy, and a high quality of life, but it is definitely not a cheap city to live in. A residence visa is required if you intend to stay more than 90 days or if you want to work at all. And there are a lot of different visa options to choose from depending on your skills and your background. There's not really a digital nomad visa program, but there is a special work visa for self-employed or freelance people, and that allows you to move to Germany and set up your own business or do your own freelance work, as long as you can prove that there is a market in your services in that country. There's also a residence permit for employment for those working for a German employer, and those are usually reserved for highly skilled workers or those that are taking a position that's in shortage, and it's renewable as long as you have an active work contract from that employer. But be forewarned that because of all the amazing things you can find in Germany, there are very high taxes and a high cost of living. And if you are working for a German company, the corporate culture can tend to be a little bit strict and conservative, so be prepared for that and keep that in mind. And number 7, Indonesia. So the low cost of living, healthy lifestyle, climate, and the beautiful beaches are only a few of the reasons why many Americans want to move to Indonesia, especially if I'm visiting Bali, which is one of the most popular vacation destinations. So if you're thinking about Indonesia, you probably are imagining Bali. The island is lush, it's beautiful, and it used to be a very inexpensive place to travel. But remember, most of Indonesia is culturally very different. Indonesia is a Muslim country, and expats will have to adjust to the local customs and the conservative Islamic society. The dress code is much more modest than you might be expecting, and while alcohol is not prohibited, it can be very expensive. And while Bali is welcoming to wealthy expats and makes the relocation process relatively easy, they have been publicly rejecting backpackers and low-income travelers and creating rules that make it almost impossible for anyone but the super rich to live there. Bali recently rebranded their digital nomad visa, and now they're calling it the second home visa. And they publicly acknowledge that the new very high income requirements are designed to disqualify most nomads. The new requirement has an income requirement of $140,000, making it one of the most expensive places to relocate to. And you can still get a traditional work visa, but not on your own. You have to work for an Indonesian employer, and they have to apply for one on your behalf. But if you want to get a taste of the Balinese life without the hefty nomad price tag or the second home visa, you can enter with the visa on arrival, which is valid for 30 days, and you can extend that for another 30 days, allowing you to stay for 60 days total. So that is it. Hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you're planning to move abroad this year and what countries you have been researching. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with someone who also might find it helpful. If you have friends that also are interested in moving abroad, I really hope this information might help them plan. And thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next video.